Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the C Morning Show. We're now into the third hour of our program, leading us to our next discussion. Nowadays, we see climate activists around the world relentlessly pursuing global solidarity and coming together for the common aim to protect and save our planet from the ongoing climate crisis. Activists are also demanding a better future for their generation and for those to come.
That's right, Paul. Now, did you know that Indonesia is also home to plenty of young people who are keen and aware of the environment and climate issues? And one of whom is from Sukabumi, West Java, who has taken on the mission to influence and raise awareness in the community about environmental and climate change issues. She was also invited virtually to the COP27 Climate Summit last year in Egypt and become a Mitra Muda or young partner in English of UNICEF Indonesia.
Seems like youth is the topic for today.
Yes, it is, Paul. You feeling young?
Yeah, I feel 20 years younger. Anyway, to find out more about her environmental concerns and what she has done so far, we're now connected with environmental activist and UNICEF Youth Network member Alya Zahra Shabira. Good morning, Alya. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Good morning, Alya.
Thank you. Good morning. How are you?
I'm great, thanks. So hope you're doing well. So listen, we just found out that you're 18 years old.
Wow.
I'm a bit curious. When did you actually start becoming concerned with the environment, and what triggered this? What was the reasons behind it?
Okay, I think it will trust me back to when I was 14 years old. And I always heard many people talk about floods and landslide in our hometown in Sukabumi after heavy rain, because it's always like flooding and it kills people and also destroying houses. And then I started to realize, oh, maybe something wrong about it. Maybe there are something that I'm missing out about. And finally, I tried to find out like what is going on with my home, what is going on with my city. And later I know it's about climate change, it's about environmental degradation. Like we don't really take care of our environment, and now we are currently facing the consequences for that. Ignorance, yeah.
So 14 years old, wow. So you were barely in high school at the
14,
time.
wow.
What were some of the things that you did early on before you got to where you were today? And what were some of the first steps that you took?
Yeah, I think because I got aware with the environment around me, so I participated in a lot of forum, like a child forum, or we call it in Indonesia is Forum Anak, where we basically talk about issues in our community. And I think that's the first step when I just realized that, oh, my voice is powerful.
Right.
As a young person, I can make a changes with my voice. Yeah.
Well, that's very inspiring, Alya. Now, speaking about environmental issues, we know that plastic waste has been cited as one of the biggest problems and main causes to climate change. With that being said, we now, however, can recycle them, but it has also led to other environmental issues. Now, what can you share with us on ways and how we can deal with it?
Yeah, of course, there are a lot of ways how we can deal with plastic waste. One of the biggest and I think most effective way is by the government. So the government can regulate how we are using plastic. Let's say in some places in Indonesia, like Bali, Jakarta, and Riau, the government, they banned the only single-use plastic. So I think that is really helpful for tackling the plastic issues.
Right. So in addition, we also heard that you currently lead a community in your hometown of Sukabumi. It is called State of Youth, or SOY. What are some of the things that SOY has done so far, and what are the issues that you're currently addressing to this particular community?
Okay, so Soya Sami, or State of Youth Sukabumi, is a youth-led organization where right now we have 50 active volunteers in Sukabumi and 100 more across the country. And we are working toward sustainable development goals, especially in gender equality and also climate change. We've done several campaigns to raise awareness, create action, and also build advocacy. We talk with our government, we talk what we want as a young person, and we also create action in our community as well. We've done a lot of community service. Also, we've done planting trees and a lot more campaigns. And we also raise funds for, but right now we have raised about $1,000 US.
Wow.
And I think this, yeah. I think it is really helpful for us because we can organize more campaign, we can reach
Yeah.
more young people to just joining us.
That is absolutely wonderful.
Look at that at such a young age. I mean, now, yeah, again, as we mentioned before, you were invited virtually to the COP27 Climate Change Summit in Egypt last year at such a young age. Can you just, well, it's so inspiring. Maybe you can share with us, what did you do, or, what was the experience like? What issues did you address during the event?
Okay, so for COP27, I got experience to being a speaker in one of the event held by Pavilion Indonesia in COP27. And in that event, I addressed as issues about your participation because I think that climate change is a complex problem, and it's also, it's only the government solve this. It wouldn't be enough. So, like young people also has the right and also the opportunity to just participate. So I basically just advocating for the government, for mature people to just let us young people to participate in climate action, in negotiation process, in the decision making process, because will be the future generation. Like the earth is gonna be ours,
Right.
like in maybe like in a couple of years.
Right.
Do you feel like the youth's voice, including yours and others as well, that are pushing for this cause, do you think that they're being heard the way they should be heard at this sort of COP27 and other summits that are taking place around the world as well?
I think it just really varies from place to place. Like one place, the participation is good enough, but in the other place, such as in Indonesia, our participation is still very, very limited. And we also always like seen as a furniture when we just, being presented, but we don't really have the opportunity to just talk and to just share our voices, which is, I think, that just really really sad to think about.
True.
So
Yeah.
I hope that in the future, we can have more opportunities.
One step at a time, and we'll
One step
slowly
at a
get there.
time. We like
Yeah.
Now, you're also juggling a little more as well. Now, maybe you can share with us about your other activities. We know that you are also part of the UNICEF's Mitra Muda, or the Youth Network. Could you tell us maybe more about that and what activities you do there? Maybe it can be, inspiring for people your age and of the youth, of course, here in Indonesia, to want to do what you do as well, and to help the environment and prevent climate change.
Yeah, of course. So, Youth Network UNICEF Indonesia, we have the opportunity to share our voices, to building connection with other young people, and also we given a feedback to UNICEF program. So to make sure that UNICEF program is really meaningful and also inclusive for all young people to be participated in. And good news that we are also open recruitment for young people if they want to be part of the Youth Network UNICEF Indonesia, being part of climate and DRR team. And we also focus on make a program for climate change for UNICEF Indonesia.
Well, I'm sure Karina will agree. I think what you're doing is wonderful, but unfortunately, I still do believe that people like you, youth like yourself, are still in the minority. There's still a lot of youth out there that are unaware and not really thinking that far ahead into the future. What can we do to help inspire more youth to be more like yourselves, to be more aware, more involved, and care more about these environmental issues and combat things like climate change?
Yeah, that's really true because we know that we don't learn about climate action in school,
Correct.
and I think that just limited our learning. But I think we all know, especially Gen Z, using social media all the time, and I think social media is a key for spread our voices. So like a lot of people basically just share about, oh, there is something happening in this world, and they make it with like such a creative content, creative approaches. So young people who saw that content will be like, oh, that's true. Like I'm learning something, and maybe that influencer, we call it, like influencer. They motivate young people. They create such a big movement and big impact. So young people are just like, oh, maybe that I want to do something about it because she do it, and I think I also can make impact for my community. I think I want to do it too. I think social media right now is really the key for change making process.
That's actually a really good point, because it's still to this day, you don't learn about things like this in school as well.
Actually, when Alya mentioned that, it clicked me. It was like, wow, yeah, I mean, we learn geography, but like not in the specifics of climate change. And I think
Correct.
maybe that's also something we can implement in schools to educate the youth into becoming more aware and more active.
And again, that goes back to the government also doing its part as
Yep.
well to be able to spread this sort of information and not just rely on things like social media. Although I do agree
Yeah.
that is a very effective way to get information
for
out there.
sure.
Since you're out there on your timeline anyway,
Yep,
might as well be learning
Instagram
something.
and TikTok, right? I actually use social media for the good.
Yes.
Now, with that said, Alya, I mean, what's your plan for 2023? You've got so much already, and I'm sure it's only upwards from here. Maybe you can share a little with us what your plans are for this year.
Yeah, so I think for Step Out Food, I want it to be like become a legal NGO, so we can like approach more young people and
Yeah.
also approach more stakeholders. And personally, because I am currently in gap year, so for 2023, I want to go into college and take global studies as my subject during at school, and hopefully, I wish I could attend COP28, which is will be held around November this year,
Okay.
and also a conference of youth 18, which also be held this year. And yeah, I hopefully can attend that.
And we hope so too.
Yes.
Obviously, you're served to be an inspiration for the youth around the country as well. And I, for one, fully support you. We thank you for what you do, and we hope that you keep up the good
Amazing.
fight and keep up the good work as well.
Keep up
And
the
thank
good
you so
work,
much for
Alya.
joining us this morning,
Thank
Alya. We really do
you.
appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Good luck
Yeah,
to you.
thank you
Safe
so
and
much for
take
the
care.
opportunity.
Absolutely. Drop by anytime
Take care.
at our studio. Next time we can have a conversation in person.
Yes.
Take care. Have yourself a great weekend. There you go.
Oh, wow.
You feel like you should have done more at 18.
Yes,
I mean, we weren't,
thank you, Paul.
No, I feel that way too. But I feel like when I was her age, things like climate change were just barely on the horizon. In Canada, there was this thing called the ozone layer, that problem that we dealt with at the
this
time.
was like the 90s, right?
Exactly, but at that
Yeah.
time it was like, well, what can we do about it?
Right.
But nowadays, youth's voices are being heard a little bit more. We do have more platforms, digital platforms, social media platforms. Back in those days, youth wouldn't be invited to any of these sort of summits.
Yeah.
There wouldn't be any sort of these kind of like opportunities for youth to speak up. And I'm glad that there's people like Alya as well to be able to use their voices for the greater
Yeah, I
good.
really hope we could see, the education of educating climate change and environmental issues more in schools. I think that would be like
Yeah.
great. I would love to see that. I think that would be something, if I could go back in time,
Yeah.
it's something that I would actually really want to learn.
Here.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, we're up for our next short break here. But a quick reminder to not forget to follow all of our social media platforms. We're on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Our handle is @CTodayNews. Please do give us a follow for all the latest updates. We'll be right back after this.